Dang it. I don't know where my phone is. There it is. Good morning. It is June 17th. I slept in my clothes again, and I slept with all the lights on. It's just, I got home late. I've been getting home late. Just yesterday, really. Well, yesterday, and I'm gonna get home late today, but oh gosh, where do I start? Where do I start? So, I think I mentioned that I was gonna model nude, pose nude. I don't remember if I said possibly this Friday or July 2nd. So July 2nd was secured for sure with the lovely Jewel Salas art. If you guys don't follow her on Instagram. But then last minute, this other artist that I encountered, Kelsey Greena, and this is her card. She has an art show coming up next week. She's amazing. Oh my, I mean, both of these artists are amazing. They bring a different energy and how I'm just blown away. So grateful for the opportunities. But she reached out to me. Well, I had reached out to her, letting her know, like, hey, you know, if you're needing a model, like, this is something that I'm really wanting to tap into in terms of overcoming my fears and being more comfortable in my body. I'm saying goodbye to Large Marge, right? I'm working out, I meal prep, feel good. And this is like an ode to Large Marge in saying goodbye to her. And so I figured it would be a great motivation to get fit, right? But at the same time, embracing where I'm at and embracing my past with Large Marge, with my fears, with my insecurities about my body, and doing it in a way where it's tasteful, right? I'm not like selling myself on you know, that came up. I don't know if I mentioned, I went out on this great friend date with someone on Sunday, this past Sunday. Made a day of Pasadena. I mean, it was just so much fun. Like, I was able to cross off a lot of stuff on my bucket list. And I mentioned, he mentioned, what app was it? Or something fan, like OnlyFans or fans only, or I don't know. I had heard that before, and I remember I told them, I was just like, this was something I was struggling with a month ago. I was struggling with, oh my gosh, how am I gonna make rent? How am I going to, you know, make ends meet, right? Like, I have bills, and how am I gonna do that, right? And someone else had asked me, like, have you applied for rent? I'm like, no, I haven't. And why not? I'm like, because it's more of a choice, really. Like, I feel like it's more of a choice for me to do this. I have a degree, I have a license, and yeah, I don't have insurance, but I feel like I don't want to tap into that unless I really need to, right? And I'm trusting that other things are gonna align, or, you know, that things are gonna work out. And I feel like that's more for someone who really needs it. I mean, could I get a job doing? Yes, I can. I'm just choosing not to. So there's a difference. And so some people were like, you should apply. I'm like, right now my choice is not to. So anyways, so he had brought that up because I don't know how it got. Oh, we were just talking about, like, the frustrations of spiritual awakening, in the sense of, like, and I mentioned it before, that someone else had told me that for some people, when they go through this process, right, they get into this high horse or very negative about life. And this friend of mine was reaching out and saying, hey, this is where I'm at, and I'm struggling, and I don't know what to do. I can't get out of the slump. Fortunately, Christina Lopes came out with a great video this week, actually, and I sent it to him. I'm just like, hey, look what came up, right? You know, she talks about these pitfalls that people get stuck in when they're going through this process. And so he was so grateful. But anyway, so in that conversation, that was one of the things he brought up. Oh, because our favorite band, The Midnight, came out with a new album, and the album, he said, was a little more dark and a little more tapping into the challenges that people have. And so we were listening to that at the end of the day on Sunday while we were watching the stars, and we're just talking about life and spirituality. And so that had come up, and this app, not app, it's like a fans only or something like that, and how some models like were getting into that world. And I remember telling him, I'm like, you know, I think that was something I once considered when I was really struggling about finances, right? The desperation of like, I need to do something. And I know I'm not the only one who sits with that, right? Who has experienced something like that, about the sense of what am I going to do? How am I going to manage me? How am I going to support my family, right? Because some people have, these women have families, or just trying to make a quick buck, right? And that was my mentality before too with modeling. I'm like, I just want to make a quick buck and have fun. But at the same time, I was struggling with that part of myself of like the morality, you know, like, and how is this contributing to the overall, you know, the overall arching theme of life, if you will. And so, so yeah. So that came up in conversation, and I was telling him, that's so funny that you're saying this, because I haven't posted videos all week. I think the last one was on Sunday. Oh, it was on Sunday or Saturday. And it was the one on, it's still a launch party after that event that happened. I haven't had time to like post the other stuff, but I know what I remember, the upcoming videos are going to speak to my insecurity about money, and my insecurity with making ends meet, and rent, and what am I gonna do, right? And so anyways, I meant to him, and where was I going with that? It was just kind of like, you know, like I mentioned before, like the cycle repeats itself, right? Cycle repeats itself. And so, so anyway, so that happened. And so then I made the decision. I was like, I'm not going to go that route, right? It doesn't completely sit well. But at the same time, like, I want to embrace my body more, right? Feel more comfortable in my own skin. So then that's when I decided to and I didn't even know I could get paid for it. Like, I took their classes. I took their art classes. I took Kelsey's class. I took Jules' class, and I just loved it. I fell in love with it, and then I just happened to ask, like, hey, you know, how do you guys pick your models? And they're like, oh, we just sometimes randomly ask people, you know, at the market. So I was like, oh, fuck, well, you know, I'll do it. And so, so yeah, so I didn't know at that time when I asked, I didn't know you would get paid. I thought it was more for the experience. I'm like, oh, they ask people at the market, you know, to like volunteer work. No, I got paid. So that was a lot of fun. So anyway, so I had reached out to Kelsey, and I didn't hear back from her right away. She's working on actually her show, and she's like, I'm so sorry. And then she's like, are you free tomorrow? This was 2 days ago. I was like, oh, tomorrow, which was like 2 days ago. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And so I did it, and last minute, and it was so much fun. Like, there was a sense of being liberated with my discomfort of my body image, and you know, the extra real estate that I have in certain places of my body, and having fun. Like, she sent me some poses, and then I was thinking, like, you know, I do certain poses with like yoga and stretching, and I mean, was it like easy? No, like my certain parts of my body, when I held the pose for very long, started shaking, and I tried to adjust very lightly, but for the most part, I think I did a good job. And then I was told I did a great job, so I was like, got it, you know. And they're like, oh, you did a really great job. And I don't think they knew that it was my first time. But Kelsey said, she's like, you have some really great poses. And then there was this older, no, he wasn't older. But just like people were just saying your poses are great, and these people were not beginners. Let me tell you that they were not beginners. They really I was impressed. I was really impressed with the work that the output, because I walked through. So there's breaks, and I put my robe on, and she Kelsey gives out little like appetizer aperitivos and wine, and so I was walking around and asking people like, can I see what you have? And it's interesting because you would think that the insecurity would, or you would feel insecure, but it's this opposite effect that you have of embracing your body in a very powerful way. Where, I mean, I remember when I first, the class was small at the beginning, and then like the late people started showing up. And there was this guy, a gentleman, man, person, who I was facing, and he's like, and he already apologized before. He's like, I'm so sorry with how I'm gonna portray you. I'm like, go right ahead, have fun with it. Like, you know, there's no right or wrong. And then, but I noticed there was this sense of like, oh, like there's insecurity in them for drawing and painting me, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so then when I put my robe on and I walked around, there was this sense of insecurity that I sensed from people like, oh, you know, oh, I'm just practicing, you know, like just, it was just interesting to see their insecurity. And there was this sense of power that I had of like, oh, like I can intimidate them to a certain degree, right? If I wanted to, right? If I wanted, which I wasn't. I was like smiling and being joyful and just reassuring them. And you know, when I was playful, I was like, I'm gonna go around and grade everybody's, and they would laugh, and it was so much fun. And then this one experienced artist said, he's just like, you had some really challenging poses. He's like, it's been a while. I took this class because it's been a while that I draw. He's like, you kept me on my toes. I was like, yes. and so I told Kelsey, I'm like, hey, if you ever want me back, I count me in, because this was great. And then I was telling a certain few people, and they're like, oh, are you gonna get ready? I'm like, well, what do you mean? Are you gonna shave? And I'm like, I won't break the 70s back. I want to bring the 70s back, right? Like I the two that I did, like great women, but there's just like, just in society in general, of just like you know, I it's funny about hair, how people feel about hair, and so I was just like, I'm like, I want to be a little different. I want, you know, just be a little different, you know, not to make it go like all crazy, but you know, just to bring it out, you know, to where it's real, right? And so anyways, some people gave me some of their art. I didn't, you know, actually pick. So this lovely lady, Sarah Ibrahim, this is what she did. And then she also did, she was one of the first people to give me something. So this is what she painted. And she did certain parts, and I remember Jules said, you don't have to do the whole body, you can just do parts. I was like, oh, okay, because, you know, I've never taken an art class. And then this lovely lady, I liked hers too. I like the pose, and I liked like the thickness here, because that's what I'm focusing on in terms of saying goodbye to large Marge, right? And just, yeah, and I like the colors. And there were others that I wanted, but you know, no one else really offered to give me one, and only they did, and so, you know, I took it. I took it and she's gonna flatten these out. But I took it, and then I was just like, thank you. And then I even put it out there, if anyone else wants to give me theirs. But I know how I feel. Like, I had a hard time giving mine away when I did mine. And the ones that I really loved, and the artists, I gave, if they picked it, like I gave it to them, because I'm like, of course. but I really wanted to keep them. So I know what that feeling is like. And so I'm just like, if you, out of the kindness, if you want to give me something, great, you know? I'm going to keep doing this, so, my trash. But anyway, so I just wanted to speak on that situation. The other thing that's come up for me is, again, this realization, right? I mentioned it, that I'm repeating a cycle with Hannah, and it's really, and I had another conversation with her yesterday, just to make sure that we're on the same page. And I was in denial. I think it's really my lesson. And she highlighted that too. I said, no, you're absolutely right. It is my lesson to learn. These are my lessons to learn. And she's really in tune too. Like she knows. And she's like, you know, speaking up. And I'm like, no, yeah. And that's why I'm having these conversations. Like, this is me speaking up sooner rather than later, right? And then there's a certain element too of just a difference in I guess it's expectations. It's expectations. For me, I think I still have these expectations of when someone says they're going to do something and not do it, or not follow through, right? I think it still gets to me. It still gets to me. This experience, it was emotional in the beginning, I think, because I made it emotional in terms of the connection. I jumped in too quickly, and just certain circumstances, I think there was a part where I really believed this was it. Where I really believed, I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. With her. So the sense of disillusionment again with the situation. Of it not being that way. Realizing, right, that realization, I'm like, oh, this is just another transitional piece. This is just another lesson to learn. It's just another step. Because I realize I'm like, I'm not meant to stay. I'm not meant to wait for things to be ready. For things to... I'm not meant to wait right now. I'm not meant to wait. And this business, it's gonna take time to grow in. I'm not meant to wait for people or things to align. I'm just meant to go through these experiences and learn and move on. And so when I had that realization, there was a denial of it. Like, no, like, that can't be. Especially not with her. There's just the connection. I'm just like, hug. Because I really thought this was it. The same thing. It's the same storyline as last time. With my broken heart. I really thought that it was it. I really thought it was it. It's just happens to be another area of my life that I really thought it was it. And so when I talked to her again yesterday, I told her. So then she's just like, so... Because she wants to help me. And I'm just like, well, right now, it's this voiceover stuff. She's like, is that where you want to go? Is that your end result? I'm like, it's not the end result. I told her it's not the end result. Because I already know what the end result is. I've been told. I know it. I already know what the end result is. And when I was told it just confirmed it. And I was just like... It's not the end result. I know what the end result is. I just don't know the pieces in between. And I struggled a little when I found out what it was, where my end result is, because it's just heavy, and I'm just like, wow. Or at least the idea of it, I think, in my head seems heavy. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just my own fears. And I told her, I was just like, but I made my peace with it. It made sense. It made sense. And I've accepted that that's my path. I've accepted it. And I made the commitment. That I was gonna follow my intuition. I was gonna follow the guidance. Wherever it was gonna lead me, I was gonna follow it. So I said this voiceover stuff. It's just the next step. It's the next step to get me to where I am. And I don't know if this is gonna be long term. I just know it's the next step. I don't know where it's gonna lead me. But I need to keep moving forward. I can't stop. I'm telling her this. And I didn't get emotional telling her about it. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it now. But, so I mentioned it to her, and I'm just like, you know, there's a certain illusion that's come up with certain tasks and certain things that I've been told would happen, and in terms of just where I'm at right now with this cycle repeating, right? And it's like pieces of all my cycles, not just this last one, but just a little bit of es un aire de todos los demás, right? And it's not as strong and it's not as intense, which is good, but so it was a little hard for me to pick up on it. And then when I did, I was like, no, like it can't be, but it is. I had that realization 2 nights ago. I was like, oh, this conversation feels too familiar. The setup is just too familiar. It's just too familiar. And that was heartbreaking to experience and to realize. And to have a conversation with her I was a little worried. It was hard. You know, it's always hard to have conversations like that with people where you initially made a commitment and then you have to change your mind about it. But it was needed. It was needed. And so we both, I was just like, this is just a learning experience. For me, I know for a fact. And I know she's learning from me too, so we hugged it out after, and it was just, I was like, oh, I do love her, I really do, I care about her so much. And I think that's also a part of it. In a way, it's hard to let go. But anyways, how did I get on that? Oh, it's just the awareness, and it came out in the cards. It came out on my week, my spread. This clarity in the middle of the week. Clarity came out. So anyways, I need to get going. I need to go in. I'm going in early today to do an evaluation on one of our employees and finish up inventory for San Francisco, and we clarified that after San Francisco we would I would start the process of transitioning the responsibilities to that I have and hiring other, like, there's, you know, we're still fairly new, so I think the transition is gonna be a little bit, and yeah, so that happened. Yeah. Oh, and so then MJ, of course, this morning, it resonated. Everything resonated. It was, she's talking about new experiences and how, you know, this is like everything that I thought about last night when I was coming home. I'm like, okay, like, you know, I'm doing everything I need to do, so it's kind of like I get a reward, right? Because I did everything. And then she's just like, that's already labeling things as good or bad. So I was like, oh, okay. Just go with the experience, right? No adjectives, no judgment of good or bad, but just is. It's just an experience. And these are just experiences that are just taking me down a road. Taking me down the road I'm supposed to go. I'm just embracing it and not fighting it. Yeah. I'm going rock climbing today. At least that's the plan. Yeah, plans always change. But I'm gonna prepare for it. I got invited to go rock climbing. It was something that was promised to me that I would get to experience, and I'm gonna do it just because I've never done it before. Even though financially I'm like, stretching it, really stretching it. I need to pay some bills, but I'm gonna do it because I don't know when if I'll do it again. So if the opportunity's up, I'm gonna take it. So if we end up going in the middle of the day in between work, I'm gonna get ready and do that. And then one of the people we hired too, like, she moved from New York, so she doesn't know anybody. It's her birthday today, actually. So we're gonna just go out for our drinks. I'll be drinking water, but you know, I'll just be there to support her and you know, try to make her birthday special. Cause I know what it's like to be in new in a place and not know anybody, and always grateful for that person that reached out, you know, always grateful for that person that might have saw that I was on my own, or that ever happened. I don't know if that ever happened, actually. I know I did it. I know when I would see someone, there were some people, like I remember someone once sat with me, but I was a little standoffish then, and I was sitting at the table by myself. It's because it was a big meeting and there was so many people, and it was just overwhelming for me, and I preferred to sit by myself, and usually the only places to sit were in the front. So she came up to me and she was just like, oh, I'll sit with you because you're alone. I'm like, oh, I'm okay being alone. And she kind of looked at me funny and then she walked away. She was just being nice, and I totally turned her off. But I would do that a lot. Like, I would see people who are alone and just start conversations, trying to make them feel comfortable. So that's what we're gonna do for her, just to make her feel welcomed and comfortable and make her birthday special. So that's all to report for now. Until next time. Bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you